Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for Sagittarius. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind everyone that I'm giving away the Spirit Animal Oracle deck for Christmas this year. This is my first Christmas on YouTube, and I just wanted to thank you all by giving away this deck. I hope to be giving away many, many more decks. I have, of course, been reading tarot cards for many, many years, but of course, this is the first time that I've done this on YouTube, and it's been really, really lovely to connect with so many people through this medium, and so this is my gift. All you have to do is be a subscriber and let me have a comment, leave me a comment, and let me know that you are interested in receiving the deck so that I don't give it to anyone who's not going to be interested or working with the deck, and that's all I ask. Thank you. And so let's get right into it, Sagittarius. You're going to pull out your romance angel messages for the week. And don't forget, a lot of your videos are linked in the description at the top. Your 2020 outlook. I believe I've done your 2020 love outlook also, which is linked there, and your December love reading. So this is your weekly look, your weekly update, as it were, right? And so we're going to pull out your romance angel messages. Then we pull out your animal spirits to see what animal spirits are in your world this week. And then we do the traditional tarot spread. All right, guys, so let your friends help you. We have flirt. Nice. I like this one. And we have let go of control issues, Sagittarius. Now, my collective, my regulars know I am a Sagittarius. I just celebrated a birthday yesterday on the 7th. And thank you to everyone who sent me a happy birthday wish. That was really sweet of you. And yeah, let go of control issues. Well, we Sagittarius, sometimes we can be guilty of having some control issues, right? But, oftentimes, who else is going to take control, right? You feel like you're surrounded by people sometimes who have an inability to control the situation properly. But then again, yes, let go of control issues is very important, certainly. And in a lot of ways, this means really to just, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're such a control freak per se, but it can also just indicate allowing a situation to unfold naturally, right? Just try not to be too hands-on. Flirt, of course, is self-explanatory. Extend your lighthearted energy to others and let your friends help you. It's always good. Asking and receiving for help is important in this life, right? You have to know how to ask for help to also know how to have empathy for people who are also asking for help. All right, B, air energy, Sagittarius. One of these cards that is really a regular player on my readings, shows up often. The bear, oh, earth energy. Talking about, waking from a slumber, a spiritual slumber. And the panther, fire energy. All right, Sagittarius, you seem to get the panther a lot in my readings. And the panther has been coming out more and more, but yeah, it is still a pretty rare creature. But let's get right into it, Sagittarius. The bee. The bee is synonymous with the great Democrat, right? This is the democratic animal spirit. This is the one that works in a colony, right? Lives in a colony in the wild, so, he understands the nature of everybody having, their say, and everybody having their space and their place, and everybody feeling equal. This is a lovely animal spirit. The person who resonates with this is a real sort of like busy bee socially. They're very hardworking. They're always the one who's willing to sort of give their hand to a project. They're always the ones who are organizing a party, or they're always the ones who are like bringing some real flair or creativity to a situation. They're just really nice energy, and people who are resonating with bee energy are really a delight to have around in any scenario. And they do take time to really sort of make sure that their friends are okay, and they do have a very democratic sort of feel about them, because this is how bees organize themselves, right? And so every bee is equal in a lot of ways, or has a very important part as the whole. And so this type of person who resonates with this is really excels at making everyone around them feel good and feel worthy and feel sort of part of something exciting. And so this is why people who resonate with this energy are a real delight to be around. And so I'm not surprised this came up when we're talking about letting your friends help you, Sagittarius, because I'm sure that you have, being the gregarious sign that you are, I'm sure that you have a couple of friends that you will consider resonate with B energy and that will be more than helpful or more than willing to be helpful if you need it. You yourself, you could be resonating with this energy and someone could be asking for your help as well. Now the bear is of course earth energy, and the bear talks about waking up from a slumber. You know, bears hibernate and they stumble out of their den, as it were, right? These little caves or dens. And they stumble out into the world and they sort of wake themselves up, you know, before they know it, they're woke. And this can indicate a time in your life of doing that. It can feel like that maybe you have been in a spiritual slumber for a little while, because this is really what it talks about. Whenever we see this sort of radiance of yellow light, we can indicate this is symbolic of sort of awakening. It's an indicator that you are going through a transformation that is providing sort of a level of enlightenment in some area, awakening in some area. This is why the Hanged Man always has a halo around his head also, because the Hanged Man is about awakening. It's not about being stuck at the Hanged Man. But anyway, the bear is very similar to that in a lot of ways, because the bear is not so much that he is stuck, but he's asleep, right? And then he wakes up. And I would say Hanged Man is probably one of the closest tarot cards that could be associated with bear energy in that sense. Once a bear wakes up and he's woke and he sees what's, you know, he sees his sort of spiritual path before him, he's going to be quite unstoppable. The bear is a very formidable creature, but it is only his own sort of sluggishness, his own, you know, and sleep, right? He was asleep. And this is very symbolic of being asleep in your life to things that are much more important, and then waking up to them and really having this real sort of realization. Some of you may indeed be going through that. Now the Panther. Panther is fire energy, and I love this because the Panther is synonymous with annihilation. You know, just absolute chaos. The Panther comes into our lives as a chaotic ball, as a tower moment oftentimes. But a tower moment is often associated with a mental or emotional understanding, right? Spiritual understanding. The Panther talks about a physical sort of boom that arrives, an event. This could be just chaos, suddenly having to move for some reason or another, suddenly having to switch jobs, or suddenly some chaotic thing happening, something has changed, some event has caused chaos in your life to erupt, and it forces you to sort of make a change, right? It forces your hand to make a change. And the lovely thing, the reason why I love the Panther so much is that ultimately this, you know, fire energy that comes into your life, it comes in and it really burns away the new, because the change that you're forced to make forces you to sever ties with anything in your life that's not necessary. You know, you ever go through a situation in your life, right? You have a certain maybe social kind of setting, right, with friends or what have you, or an environment that you're living in, right? Here's an example. And you're kind of like, it's been like this for quite some time. Some people you've been dealing with for quite some time. Some activities you've been doing them for a long time, but there's not been much change. You may have been trying to make progress in one area or another, but a lot of things have stayed the same. And then all of a sudden, say for instance, you are forced to move. There's a storm and your roof caves in and you're forced to move, right? And it's just chaos for a couple weeks and it just seems like the worst luck in the world. And then suddenly you move and you find yourself in a totally different neighborhood, and you suddenly find yourself like in a totally different environment, a totally different neighborhood. Certain opportunities suddenly become available to you, and you realize after like maybe a month or two that there's like a few certain people in your life you suddenly never talk to anymore. You used to talk to them every day. Suddenly you never talk to them, you never see them. There's certain events that you don't do anymore. It may be that there was a certain bar you used to go to all the time, or there's certain activity you used to do. All of a sudden you realize you haven't done that in 2 months. You just haven't had the time. And your life suddenly takes this other turn, and it's a great turn. It's progressive, it's wonderful, and it's exciting, and it feels like your life is awake again. And there's all these other areas in your life that suddenly fell away, And it was like you almost even didn't notice it. This is the energy of the Panther. This is what we mean by annihilation. Things get things that are no longer necessary, that are just cluttering up your life, wasting your time, that just aren't necessary, that just take up space and in a lot of ways impede your growth, right? A chaotic moment like the Panther will bring that type of energy and fire that just burns that away. And that doesn't mean that they're not worth anything. I don't mean it to say that, but they're just certain aspects of your life that you may not realize it or not, but they are actually keeping you from progressing the way you should, or keeping you from your life being as exciting as it could, or going down the path that it could. And so that's why the universe brings in like something like a Panther energy oftentimes, This is our higher selves, A lot of times these are events that you already planned out when you were with your cohesive with your spirit to set out the roadmap for your life. A lot of people believe that. But in any case, and that's just one belief. And in any case, Panther energy is very strong, very beautiful. And I wanted to take a moment to explain it because although it can be quite scary when it happens, it is absolutely necessary. And of course, letting go of control issues can be part of that, letting that situation just unfold naturally and doing the best you can to get through it. You will find yourself at the other side of the tunnel in a place that is so much better than where you were before. All right, Sagittarius, let's pull out your spreads. We're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 6 3-card spreads. I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm going to have to take it easy. There's Empress. This just came out for Scorpio in the same position. Knight of Swords, and we have 6 of Pentacles. All right, so this is absolutely let friends help you, right? And I'll tell you why. Empress energy this week comes in, and you are feeling just beautiful this week, Sagittarius. You are feeling luxuriant. You can see your garden coming together. You've been very creative recently on a particular project. And you have just been fertilizing yourself. You've been working on yourself. You've been working on your garden. And this week, you're feeling really good. Empress energy is such a deep and complex card, It's like there's so many sides to it to tap into. But I think this week, the energy that Empress is bringing is a feeling of confidence, a feeling of creativity, a heightened creativity, and a feeling of just feeling really beautiful, feeling really good about what you're doing and happy. Certainly because you're able to be very creative right now in some endeavor. So you're bringing this energy in this week, Sagittarius. You met with a Knight of Swords, and that's someone who comes into your life, or someone you may be dealing with, who is... they're really coming in with a lot of good ideas. They're coming in to sort of... perhaps find a solution to a problem, or they want to offer a solution to a problem. You don't seem to have any problems though, right? So it could very well be that they are, it's just that their energy is like that. They want to just be involved with what you're doing. They want to just have a conversation with you about what you're doing. For some reason, you've just really intrigued this Knight of Swords. And of course, Knight of Swords is air energy. So you're talking about someone who's very, very sort of, very air quality, in a sense that they may have a lot of, communication with you. This may be somebody who's quite hyper, who really gets very excited in your company. Sagittarius, you get along with air elements, right? So it's like when somebody is resonating with that quality, with that air quality, and I hesitate, and I'm not going to mention air signs because it doesn't matter if they're an air sun sign. They could be any sign, but it's what you want to look at is their personality or character traits, because they could be a water sign or a fire sign or earth sign, but they're resonating with this energy when they approach you. And so this is going to be someone who's, wants to talk to you, wants to have a conversation to you, wants to exchange ideas with you, is very sort of hyper about it, very excited, very ambitious, right? This is going to be somebody who's also gets very excited in your company, Sagittarius. And you round the week off with a 6 of Pentacles in the sense that there's this real feeling of wanting to share, right? 6 of Pentacles talks about giving and receiving. A stage in your life where you have learned to give and share of your time, of your money, of your kindness. And also you've learned the humility of asking for help when you need it. right? This card, you can see that one person is receiving help, and another person is giving help. And this is the duality. And with sixes, there is always a little bit of duality because sixes is associated with Gemini. It's associated with harmony, and harmony is about duality and balance. Balance is two sides of a coin, and two sides of this card is that one person one person is in need and willing to receive, right? The other person, and the other side is the need to give. And so there's a real harmony here. It could very well be that you're going to be exchanging a lot of ideas with this individual, and there's going to be a real quid pro quo here. They could indeed help you with some areas, and you could help them with some areas. So it could very well be like, let your friends help you energy, and also let it go of control issues, and let's just see how this sort of plays out. It's very curious, but certainly he's very interested. Could just be a lot of flirting in the beginning also. We have a Knight of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, Six of Wands. So this week you are absolutely about your goal and your mission. You are the Knight of Pentacles energy coming in. So you are goal-orientated in the sense that all you want to think about is your business or your career this week. Some of you Sagittarius are achieving some kind of project or career goal that you are single-minded on about right now. It's like you're single-mindedly focused on it, right? All your intention is on it. However, you are met with the Eight of Swords. And Eight of Swords is someone who's going to try to, they're not so much, there's not a Seven of Swords. They're not going to try to mess you up, but this is this toxic person. This is a person who plays a lot of gaslighting games, a lot of victim games, a lot of, this is, Eight of Swords is, I call it my toxic, my victimizer card. This is the person who is very difficult to talk to, very, very stuck in their ways. Oftentimes they alienate themselves by their sort of really rigid behavior, generally very difficult to speak with, but they also blame the rest of the world for all of their problems. They blame the rest of the world for their inability to communicate properly or to change, or, it's like, they treat people really badly, and then they're like, well, I wouldn't have to treat you so badly if you didn't act that way, or if you didn't say what you say. They're the gaslighter. They create a real chaotic situation, and then they blame everyone else for that situation. And it's a really toxic energy. It's one of the most toxic cards in the tarot deck, honestly, in terms of when you're interacting with someone and you come across someone who's really giving you all of that. They're giving you all of that this week, and you're just like, I'm just going to walk around you. Literally, I see you and your Knight of Pentacles just walking around them. Like, you just have no time for it. And you come out with a victory this week. Because you just, you know what I mean? Like, what you're trying to accomplish right now burns so brightly, and you're so focused on it. In Sagittarius, you certainly have this ability to absolutely ignore somebody, walk right around them. I'm a Sagittarius, I have a Taurus rising, so it's like the ability to sort of freeze someone out if I desire so, or if I choose that their energy is not conducive, is very easy. It's very easy. So in Sagittarius, you have this ability, and absolutely I would encourage you to use this talent that you have, certainly with a toxic person like this. Walk, trot your horse right around them to your victory, because your week ends out this week with a real bonus. Nine of Wands. This could be at work also. Nine of Wands, Fool energy, Three of Cups. So some of you are absolutely coming out of a difficult period, Sagittarius. I feel so good about this weekly reading because so far the spreads have been really, really good. Nine of Wands, you're looking back. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel when you look forward. And you're looking back this week. You're probably being very sort of contemplative this week, just doing a lot of like contemplation on where you've been at and how far you've come, because you are absolutely resonating with a new stage in your life with this Fool energy. You see it coming, Sagittarius. You know that a whole new stage of your life is right around the corner, and this week it really begins for you in a lot of ways. By the end of the week, you're celebrating with friends. Three of Cups indicates a period of celebration. You're able to go out and celebrate this new change in your life, this new sort of stage in your life. What can I say? This is very, very strong, sort of like just a blessing, I want to say, Sagittarius. And what I've been saying in November, a lot of us have been coming out of difficult periods. November was a period of a lot of upheaval and getting rid of toxic situations. A lot of us were making intentional moves towards our future and our goals. And I said in a lot of my readings, I was saying that, and for those of you who are new to my channel, you can go back if you feel like it, you have the time, check out a couple of those readings from November. You can see where people really made a lot of changes. A lot of sort of crossroads decisions, you know, in anticipation of this month coming in terms of like, if your life is full of sort of difficulty and toxicity, there's not going to be room for something healthy to come in or for love to come in. So you have to get rid of the old to make room for the new. And here we have an example of, you know, this is starting to happen for some of you. You know, this new life is right here, right now starting. And it's definitely, you're celebrating because the rewards are coming in. And a lot of you are starting to be able to look back on difficult times. Emperor energy associated with Aries. There's your Hanged Man. Funny, my Hanged Man came out right under the bear, which is what I was talking about earlier. It's cute. All right, so the Emperor energy is, of course, associated with Aries energy. But the Emperor is really sort of, we've had the Empress in the beginning. So the Emperor talks about authority, establishing authority, and also establishing power. Right, you're coming to this week establishing a strong sort of power base, a foundation. You are establishing stability or maintaining stability this week. This is a lot to do with the Emperor as well. The Emperor comes in when things need to be stabilized, when things need to go his way, right? Because he knows how to stabilize it. He knows how to, how to make the right decisions. He has the fire for it. He has the courage for it. He has the intention for it. He's the Aries in a lot of ways. He's the progenitor, the one who goes out in the world and who sort of conquers new territory, who leads men, right? Obviously the divine masculine. And so in a lot of ways, Sagittarius, you're coming in this week very strong, certainly in charge. And you're met with Hanged Man energy, and it could very well be that someone in your life, it's interesting. I'm going to say for some of you, come into this week and this Hanged Man energy happens, and it's something that, it's an event or someone who comes into your life that suddenly wakes you up. Something about your life wakes you up to a different side. It's really interesting that this will come out, and certainly under bear energy, because I'm going to say that while indeed some of you Sagittarius are in charge, you are in a position of authority and leadership in some area of your life, and I'm going to say this is probably a real sort of like practical side or the side of your life where you're expected to be this way, right? There's something else that happens or someone that comes in that opens up a different side of your life, perhaps your spiritual side or your emotional side. It could be Sagittarius that you're great in business and things like this, right? But there's another side to you that needs more or that has not really been woken up. This week it wakes up. Bear energy comes in and it's like literally you have this awakening in something. It's almost like an epiphany because the Hanged Man comes in when you wake up out of a slumber, literally like the bear. The Hanged Man is associated with awakenings. It's not associated with being stuck, like I said earlier. And so when Hanged Man comes in, it's letting you know that an area where you may have been asleep or where you may have not been aware, you are suddenly aware and you are feeling like you want to do everything you can now to put your best foot forward there. And I'm not surprised that Six of Swords comes in, because Six of Swords talks about making a firm decision to turn your back on a side of your life that no longer serves you or that has been a source of pain or a source of difficulty or that you realize is not part of your happiness. Six of Swords talks about a decision to leave, a decision to move toward harmony in your life. And so it's almost always associated, with leaving something that has been disharmonious or something that has been, full of trouble and strife and difficulty, or perhaps bad feelings or feelings of guilt. Whatever the case may be, it's a turning your back on a particular area of your life that no longer makes you happy, no longer serves you. And some of you may actually indeed be changing your lives. You may be moving. You may be leaving. Some of you, it's like you have some kind of epiphany. Some of you may even be leaving a long-term relationship because of this, or a long-term connection, right? A long-term association with something. It's like you've had an association with something in your life, be it a person, a religious group, a social group, an environment, a night, whatever area, or just a way of life, and it's like you turn your back completely on it as a result of this awakening. It's a big change for you, Sagittarius. 7 of Cups, 3 of Wands, and we have the Tower. Okay, so there's the Tower. And this is what I'm talking about. This is almost very synonymous with the last forecast, because there's change coming in. But the week starts off, this is going to be your last spread, Sagittarius. Your week starts off with 7 of Cups. And you've been doing a lot of sort of daydreaming recently, Sagittarius, about all of these great things, because I think for some of you, you may have been working really hard and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You see that the rewards are just around the corner. And some of you are already starting to see your blessings, but this week you've been doing a lot of daydreaming, right? You've been doing a lot of sort of daydreaming and thinking about the fairy tale ending, or really daydreaming about what could be coming next, you know. 7 of Cups can indicate delusional thinking as well. So because sometimes when we daydream, we do begin to lose reality, with touch with reality, and we can begin to think of situations in a very unrealistic way. So we do have to be careful with this energy. There is a part of 7 of Cups, though, that is healthy. It's always healthy to be able to have dreams and goals. But we have to understand when they're realistic, and we have to understand when all we're doing is daydreaming and not actually working toward them. And so this is sort of a lesson with this card. But in any case, you come in this week with that, and you're kind of forced to put the brakes on. You may have indeed been having all these ideas about what you want to do next, but you may have been thinking a little bit too far ahead, because this week, let go of control issues is very much synonymous with 3 of Wands, because 3 of Wands is a card for virtue and patience. And it's when we are forced to stand still. You know, patience is a virtue, because when we're trying to achieve something and we truly believe in it, right? It is our virtue of patience that sort of is testament, right, to our commitment. Right, to our belief in what we're doing. If we truly believe in something, right, that's a virtue. If we truly want, you know, if we truly believe in a goal or something that we're trying to achieve, and we have confidence in it, then we also have to sort of have confidence when things don't move along. We have to be able to deal with that, and that's patience. And that's why patience is a virtue, because it talks about the strength to be able to understand the bigger picture, to be able to understand that just attaining something isn't what it's all about, but it is about the journey. And sometimes you do have to wait. Sometimes you have to have patience. Sometimes you have to be able to control yourself and hold yourself back, with the understanding that that is for the ultimate good. And so 3 of Wands in this way is associated with virtue and patience. And a lot of times it comes in when life is forcing you to sort of slow down, put the brakes on, because an event needs to happen, or a person needs to come into your life that is important to your achieving your ultimate goal. Oftentimes I find 3 of Wands almost always shows up with some kind of event, like the Tower moment with it, or the arrival of someone, like a court card coming in, usually a knight card. A lot of times 3 of Wands will show up with one of the knights coming in afterward, or a card that has a real active component to it. And sure enough, here we have the Tower. And you're being forced to put your brakes on, because by the end of the week, there's another event that comes in that's very much like Panther energy, that's Tower energy. And it comes into your life and shakes up your understanding about something in such a way that so that you can now once this is done, you'll be able to progress forward. You'll be able to make the right step. Right? You'll be able to make the next step forward. The next step forward that takes you to stability. right? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. This is your reading, Sagittarius, December 8th to the 14th. Don't forget to leave me a comment if you're interested in receiving this Spirit Animal Oracle deck and being a subscriber. Go ahead and join me over on Instagram. And if you want to get a private reading, go ahead and follow that link at the top of your screen. If you want to get a Tarot Answers reading, 10-minute recorded answer to your question, go ahead to that link. Please remember to frame your question and give me some background. I'm putting that in my videos so people understand. A lot of times people order the services and they don't read the details. Please read the description when you are ordering the services. It gives you instructions on how we conduct the readings and what I need from you to be able to give you a good service, a good tarot reading, whether it's the recorded reading or the live reading. So please read the description when ordering your readings from me so that your reading isn't delayed and we can go ahead and confirm the booking. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the Sagittarius, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check out your other videos. They're all linked at the top of the description. This is a really great reading, Sagittarius. I love these readings for our collective, specifically Sagittarians, because, you know, Sagittarius energy definitely, whether you're the Sun Sagittarius or where it is in your chart, you know, Sagittarius energy really resonates with activeness, you know, in dealing with, you know, events like Tower moments, Panther energy, understandings, waking up. You know, it's dynamics that Sagittarians feed off of. And this has been a great spread of dynamic situations, all leading to very, very good places for you. All right, guys, I love you so much. Have a wonderful week, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye.